11:02.
Okay, we will call the meeting to order at 11:02. Anybody here for public comment on general items may address the board now. If there's anything specifically that you want to address under the business part, you can address it then. Is there anybody here for public comment? Okay, going once, going twice, hearing none. Move ahead to approval of the minutes of the Board of Elections that were held Thursday, January 21st and Thursday, January 28th.
I'll make the motion to approve both sets of minutes.
I'll second the motion to approve both sets of minutes.
Okay, properly moved to second. Is there any other discussion or additions or corrections to those minutes? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Great, motion passes unanimously. All right, under new business, campaign finance reports. That's what's the latest and greatest?
Well, I'm trying to think what it was. Campaign finance report. Someone's going to have to remind Michael, why is this on the agenda?
Oh, sure. I believe the elections office received an email regarding how individuals could access campaign finance reports.
Oh, yes. Sorry. So sorry. If
No.
someone wants to, if anyone would like to come in and look at a candidate's campaign finance reports, in the past, they would come into our office, let us know what they wanted. We would pull that particular candidate's campaign report, and they would view it at our lobby, at our window. If people want to do that now, how should we handle it?
I think one of the options we had thought about was going through the Right to Know channel, so that if anybody would like to see somebody else's campaign finance reports, it allows you to have, you don't have folks coming in and out, even with the pandemic. I think that might be a better option, so that there's a record of us giving those out. So that was one thought, one suggestion about how we could do it, and so that was one. Or we could just have people come in and request them. But again, due to the pandemic, I don't think that's the best way for them to do that.
How many requests do you typically have on an annual basis?
It just depends. With it being a municipal election, I'm not anticipating that we would have a whole lot. But if there's contentions or multiple people running for one position, they pretty much like to look at them just to see where they're spending their money and who's contributing to their campaigns. So in a cycle like this, I'll say, maybe half a dozen to a dozen. It varies by region.
But under the normal rules, outside of COVID, people would be able to come in and receive copies of those, right?
Copies, or a lot of times they would just come in to look at them. But yes, they could get copies.
So I'm a little hesitant to put it in the Right to Know realm, just because that creates a whole level of response. First of all, Natalie's got a time period to respond. She can wait the 5 days. We've been waiting the 5 days just because she's trying to manage them. She's getting roughly 20 to 25 requests a month. So I'd rather not add those in there. I guess my thought is if you're not open to the public per se, then you would provide people with a number. They'd reach out to you and arrange to see things by appointment. That'd be my suggestion.
And I concur. I think the Right to Know would be messy at best, and I'm not sure that really solves any issues for us as far as administration, because I think you're really going to have a lot of confusion as to, people are going to come in. They're not going to, I don't think they mind waiting a day or so, but I don't think they want to wait a month to see somebody's campaign finance report. That'd be my thought, though.
No, that's a good point, Steve. Good point. I think I was doing some quick research for what other counties do, and there are some counties that have adopted a similar method to what the state has, where you can basically go onto a website and look up people's candidates and campaigns or committees reports, sort of like a PDF. You can just kind of pull them up and see them. So that could be a direction we think about moving in. That thereby we just direct people to the website if they'd want to find anything. It saves them a trip in. But again, that's down the road. But I think if it's only going to be about a dozen or so, then I think I would support your suggestion, Steve, of just people coming in, or Betsy, whoever suggested it. But yeah, just people coming in and requesting it. But setting up an appointment, I think would be the best way to handle it. Absolutely.
Well, and you look at it this way: if somebody did have a specific, they wanted to see, Steve Dersham's campaign information. Well, they call in, they say, "I'd like to have, reports X, Y, Z." Obviously, there'd be a charge if you want them copied, and I think that would be the most. I don't know that I'd let them have the originals because of the COVID situation, but you can make copies of it and a very nominal fee, and they can get that information. That would be my suggestion right now, considering the COVID. I'm not sure you want everybody handling all that paperwork and then it going back into the office, but
Right.
maybe that's not a problem. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
No, I think you're making a fair point. And also, if they call in and say, "I'd like, Jane Smith's campaign report," I mean, we could even scan it and email to them. I mean, to save them a trip in. So, it depends on what the request is, but
that's a good point. And these are all public documents, so it's not like there's any confidentiality needs to be expressed.
Right, correct.
So
Well, I think
them the option then, like I do like the idea of scanning them in and emailing them. So should we give them the option of you can either come and look in person or we can scan them in and email them to you, or do we not want to give them the option and scanning and emailing be the only option? I mean, I think either idea is a great idea and we could do both based upon
I think you give them the option.
like, okay.
Not everybody's going to have email that may request it, and that'll be the majority of your actions, I think. So it's just going to be easier the whole way.
Okay.
And then you can keep track of who's making the inquiries, and you can process it and record it that way.
Okay.
that sounds good. I concur.
That sounds good to me too. Yep.
Okay. Would there be a motion to the effect of that action so we can codify this?
Absolutely, sure. I'd be happy to make a motion to give the elections team the discretion to set up appointments or email copies of campaign information, campaign finance information to interested parties.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, the motion is properly moved and seconded with the understanding that we will be recording the dispersal of that information as we traditionally have. Okay, any other discussion?
No.
No.
Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, that's unanimous. And so, Jody, are you clear as to what direction to take?
I am, thank you.
All righty. Okay. There's no old business. Is there any discussion items today for the good of the order, or anything else for the good of the order?
Yes, Mr. Chair. We did actually have two other items that just did not get on the agenda today. One of them is a update on our risk limiting audit that that Jody was going to go through, and the second was just a quick update on petition packets for candidates. Petitions are going to be starting next week. We thought it would be a good opportunity to give an update, and so those are two items we don't have on the agenda. I think we were preparing for both of them today, so it may be good to get them to take care of them at this point. I can certainly make a motion to add the one to old business, and the one would be the petition packet would also be old business as well.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'll make a motion to add under old business item 1 or A and B, A being a risk limiting audit update and B being a petition packet update.
I will second the motion.
Properly moved and seconded. Any other discussion on the addition of these agenda items? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 All right, passes unanimously. Okay, let's roll.
So Jody, you would be up for the risk limiting audit update, and I believe Natalie has the PowerPoint she's going to bring up on her screen for you to go through, okay?
Okay.
Looks like we're just waiting for the PowerPoint to load up here.
Do you want me to start, Michael, or do you just want to wait for that to come up?
Yeah, I would say just wait till it comes up here.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm in the Willowbank building, so there might be a little bit of a delay, but it is up. So hopefully you'll
It is-
see it here in a moment.
Okay. Yeah, it just shows as a gray screen for us. We can see your mouse. We can see your mouse moving around, but I can give a stab at sharing it, Natalie.
If you don't mind, I'm sorry, I'm not sure why it's not thing.
Sure. Let me do this here. And Jody, if you just want to, oh, there we go. I think we can see it now.
Okay, I'll leave it up then.
Okay.
Okay, apparently I am going to go over the results from some of our risk limiting audit that we do for the Department of State. Out of the 85 precincts that we audited, 84 precincts matched their election day in person and vote by mail totals. From the RLA audit, one precinct's count from the same day ballots were not correct. Now that was for precinct 44, which includes two separate polling locations, the College Township building and at the Founders Lounge in Bryce Jordan Center. This discrepancy did not change the outcomes of any of the contests. Next. The certified election results for precinct 44 are currently listed as 677 election day ballots cast. Through conducting the RLA, the ballots cast should only be 360, which is showing a difference of 317 votes. Again, no contests or outcomes were affected by this discrepancy. Upon finding this out, we did contact election or ES&S to find the root cause analysis to help identify how this occurred and to prevent it from happening in the future. From hearing from ES&S, polling location results from the USB stick could not be read into Electionware when they came back to the Willowbank building on election night. So ballots were rescanned here at the Willowbank building, and then the results were added to the vote totals instead of overwriting them. And then what we have here are the notes from ES&S about the root cause analysis, essentially stating that the tickets that were opened at the software on election night, that shows the description of the 6 sticks that would not read in to the electionware, one of them which was 44. And then out of the options that were proposed by software, we went with the manual update on election night. And then these are the notes that election systems and software provided to us regarding that phone call. Also, what we have here is a snippet from the electionware logs that show the date and time of the manual entry that occurred for that precinct. And then this here is a sample of ES&S's response to that. Instead of doing the change, adding, or taking away votes, that was done instead of replacing it. So it made the election day totals greater than what they should have been. These are the original tapes that were printed at the polls on election day from the 3 different machines that were at precinct 44. And it shows you their vote totals for that day, which is equivalent to the 360 that it should be. This next image here is an image of the ballots that I just rescanned recently from precinct 44, ensuring that the election day totals from the tapes that were printed at the polls are true and correct. And there were 360 ballots cast that day, and again on the 9th when I ran them for confirmation. So recommendations for our future post-election procedures. In the long term, we'll continue to work with the Department of State to continue conducting risk limiting audits after each primary and general election as they request us to do. During the official count process, the board will perform reviews of the following items: the numbered lists of voters booklets, the general returns of votes cast, the election day results tapes, and the election night reports for each precinct to ensure that those numbers are equal across the board. No manual entries in electionware will occur without the Board of Elections approval. And we also will create unique usernames and passwords in electionware for everyone that will be accessing the electionware. So in short term, we need to recertify the results for the 2020 general election and give us the approval to rescan the results for precinct 44 and prepare the necessary paperwork for recertification on Thursday, February 18th.
Is that your complete report, Jody?
That is my complete report. Steve, I apologize.
Okay. Obviously, we there's a lot of concern over this occurring. Luckily, the on-premises count was correct, and that's really what should be indicated. But we do have to put processes and procedures in place to make sure that there's no confusion like this again. And is the board satisfied that those processes that were outlined would be sufficient to maintain election integrity?
I would, Commissioner. I would say that I want to commend Jody for the presentation today, the way that she outlined finding out about the issue and then the thoroughness of which she engaged with ES&S, our vendor for the elections equipment, was extraordinarily detailed. And I think that at the end of the day, us catching this discrepancy through the risk limiting audit was beneficial. So doing the risk limiting audits, I think, is a recommendation. Depending on how the Department of State goes forward with requiring us, there may be some legislation that would require all counties to do this. I think the fact that it gives us greater certainty about the results, I think, is very beneficial. I think also looking back on this, so again, recognizing the work that Jody was doing with getting to ES&S for a root cause analysis, I think was extraordinarily thorough, and we can see the issues that led us to the discrepancy, but ultimately we were able to fix it. I think also looking back at some of the timestamps for when this issue occurred was we were talking about almost 1 a.m. at night of the day of the election, and a day after there was probably 18 hours of work being put in by our team. And I think recognizing in the future that since we're going to be having mail-in vote by mail ballots in the future, I think if we encounter any issues that election night when things are being brought back, I think we should kind of regroup when it comes to Wednesday and take a fresh set of look at the issues. I think that's important, again, just to kind of take a deep breath and see what the issues may be. I think also the fact that we were so focused on the vote by mail, getting that finished on Wednesday, I think we can, Wednesday after the election on November 4th, for future elections, we can make sure that we're doing the in-person election monitoring as well, making sure, as Jody indicated, making sure that we're doing, as previous official count boards have done in the past, that 4-step check with all those items. I think that would be crucial as well. And then thirdly, as she talked about from a software standpoint with Electionware, I think making sure that if there are any manual entries that, are needed, like we talked about before, if there's an issue that occurs on election night when those sticks are being brought back, that we can sort of hit the pause button and then bring that to the attention of the official count board the next day, and then rectify it at that point. I think that's very prudent. And then also that final step of making sure that there are unique usernames when it comes to individuals from RBA accessing Electionware, doing any work in there, and then also from Jody's standpoint as well, if she's in there. So I think they're great recommendations. And at the end of the day, I know this might sound counterintuitive, but I think this actually strengthens the election integrity that we have in Centre County to making sure that we have exact totals. I think that's really important for us to recognize. Again, I want to compliment Jody on the thoroughness of this, and I think ultimately getting us to a better place.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, we all know that this was an extraordinary election, but obviously we have to maintain the integrity of the process to the best of our ability. So as we learn about these new systems, and certainly this was a challenge. So moving ahead, I think those safeguards would be well received.
Yeah, it seems like a thorough investigation and good recommendations as to how to greatly reduce the chances of this happening in the future. And thank goodness we're using paper ballots, so we were able to go back and verify everything exactly. So, it sounds good.
Anything else on this subject?
I would say in terms of the time frame, what we can essentially do is give, again, as Jody indicated from that last slide, give them the ability to rescan those 360 ballots for precinct 44, get the results from them, and then do whatever paperwork we need to do, coordinate that with the Department of State, and then a week from today recertify those numbers. I think that would be the only thing that we need to do, and then effectively we would be finished with the 2020 results at this point, and then we would just make sure that we have the accurate numbers. So I think other than that, I think we're all good to go from that standpoint.
Okay. All right. Okay. Moving ahead, the next item.
The petition packets? Okay. Petition packets are indeed available. They can be picked up at the front lobby area at the front desk. And also all the materials can be printed from centercountyvotes.com. On there is the option for them to schedule their appointment online to come in and file their paperwork, or they can call in to schedule their appointment to file their paperwork. But we've gotten really good responses and feedback from the materials that are online, so I think we're in good shape.
All right, so if anybody wants a petition packet, what's the process now?
They can either come into the Willowbank building Monday through Friday, 8:30 to 5 or 8 to 5, whatever hours the building's open. They'll check in with whoever's manning the front desk, and then they will provide the packet to them. If they call in and ask how to get it, we give them that option. They can either come to the Willowbank building, or they can print all the materials at centercountyvotes.com. And all the same information is provided in the packet that's available online.
All right, thank you. Okay,
You're welcome.
I appreciate both items. If there's anything else for the good of the order, please bring it up now.
No, just another thank you to everybody in the elections office for getting that electronic candidate information on the website. Again, if you go to centercountyvotes.com, you click on petition packets, essentially everything's right there. And I think it just makes it a lot easier for folks to save themselves a trip. But also, if anybody wants to come in, they can pick it up. And of course, when people are going to be dropping them off, we're going to have it really safe and secure. If individuals file, they'll be able to come in through the elections office, and we're going to have social distancing things in place, hand sanitizer, wiping things down, the whole gamut, making sure that's all safe. And we're Jody and Chad are working on getting an appointment sign up where people would be able to block off basically a certain amount of time where one person would come in. If people would also want to call in, they can also call in to schedule an appointment as well. But again, that'll help to make sure. I know that when each of us have filed, we typically are, standing in that little corridor waiting for our turn to file, chit-chatting about the latest gossip on the political scene in Center County. But unfortunately, that won't be able to be occurring this year. We'll have to make sure we're staying safe and social distancing. So, but anyway, that'll be another avenue to keep people safe here in Center County.
Okay, well, thanks for all that. Seeing nothing else before the board, is there a motion to adjourn?
I will happily make that motion.
Second.
Okay, properly moved and seconded. Any other discussion before we adjourn? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.